Awesome. Okay, well, we will get started so we can stay on time tonight. My name's Hillary Powell. I'm the director of undergraduate admission and one of the admission counselors. And I'll be our moderator tonight and kind of host for this webinar series. So if you have questions, again, please put them in the Q&A. But I definitely have some that I'm curious about and going to be asking throughout the webinar as well. But I'll pass it off to Dr. Leckler and he'll get going with his presentation.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name's Alex Leckler, and I am an associate professor here at Pacific Lutheran University in the Department of Earth Science and Environmental Studies. I also currently serve as the chair of our department. So I'm going to start by just kind of giving you an overview of our program, talk a little bit more about what earth science looks like here, as well as what environmental studies, what's similar between these two sub-programs, what's different between them. But I also want to just kind of introduce myself because I am a great point of contact. If you have any direct questions for me, you can always reach out directly via email. You can Google my name on the PLU website and you'll find a nice contact information. I'm sure Hillary could also share it if you go through those routes as well. So if we start here, if you're looking at the screen, you are seeing two different images of PLU students out in the field. This kind of shows the natural environments that PLU Earth Science and Environmental Studies students get out into and study. On the left-hand side of the screen, you're seeing a group of Earth Science students study at nearby Point Defiance Park in Tacoma. And on the right-hand side, you're seeing a group of Environmental Studies students measuring stream discharge in a local creek right nearby campus. That's kind of a focus of one of our upper division classes that I'm going to highlight in just a minute. So I'm going to give the highlights on what a degree program looks like in each of these disciplines, Earth Science, Environmental Studies. I'll also talk about some of the highlights of our programs, meaning experiences that you could expect to have if you take part in these programs as a PLU student. So both of these programs directly align with the PLU mission statement, which you may become familiar with if you become a PLU student. As you can see on the screen here, it's PLU seeks to educate students for lives of thoughtful inquiry, service, leadership, and care. And that central tenet of care for other people, for their communities, and for the earth is at the heart of our program because we are very much studying this care for the earth, both from an earth science perspective and an environmental studies perspective. So that kind of center point of studying the earth is inherent to our program. We have two current Bachelor of Arts majors that you can pursue while here. I'm going to start with the requirements for the Bachelor of Arts in Earth Science. And so what you'll see here is a wide range of class lists that are definitely more than you need to know right now as an incoming student. But I just want to kind of highlight two major aspects pursuing a major here at PLU, particularly in Earth Science, is that there's a range of what you can call entry-level lower division courses. Those are these ones that have the 100 level numbers to them. So you can think about these as topic level courses and everything from studying natural hazards like earthquakes and volcanoes to conservation of natural resources to intro oceanography. And then you take a set of courses, 4 to 5, that come from what we call our upper division, where you really get the hands-on applied training that prepare you for a job in the field of earth science. In addition, you do need to take a class outside of earth science in chemistry, but overall, this major is inherently very flexible and provides you a lot of choice in how you pursue your earth science degree at PLU. It also is a very efficient major that students can complete their major requirements usually in only 2 to 3 years, so it works very well for any transfer students as well. And so this is something that you'll get more information about if you come here and declare a major or want to pursue declaring a major. But I just wanted to highlight that fact straight from the get-go, that there's a lot of flexibility and choice in pursuing an earth science major at PLU. Some specific courses to note is that early on in a PLU career, our earth science majors take what we call our gateway course, Earth Science 201, a kind of introductory geologic principles that then sets you up for any upper division class in that list that I showed on the previous screen. So you start off with this gateway course and then kind of open that door to any sub-discipline of interest or focus that you'd like to pursue in your later years at PLU. A particularly notable course that we offer every other year that students take in either their junior or senior year is a spring break field trip where we do the types of things that you're seeing on the screen right here, but we do them a little bit farther from campus. So we do a multi-day trip. This coming spring break, we'll be doing one in the Columbia River Gorge right on the border of Oregon and Washington, where students get to spend multiple days studying real world geology out in the field. And then as a senior student at any major at PLU, you'll complete a capstone experience. Ours is an independent research project, one that gives students a chance for that kind of individualized designed research project, hands-on investigation of the student's choosing. And so it's usually a real highlight of a student's PLU career in earth science. Here are some of the experiences that students get outside of the classroom. So on the right-hand side is a picture of that field trip that I just mentioned before. Here is the group from a couple years back exploring that beautiful Columbia River Gorge, and we'll have a whole new set of students doing it this coming spring break 2026. In the middle is a handheld LIBS analyzer, a fun little tool that allows you to shoot lasers at rocks and minerals and figure out what's in there. So it's a very hands-on applied tool that our students get to work at in one of our research labs here. And on the left-hand side are students who are completing independent research experiences. For part of this project, they actually traveled to the University of Arizona and got to apply their geologic training in a real-world lab environment at that university. And so we really try to provide enriching experiences for students to build on their PLU classroom experiences as much as possible. On the environmental studies side of things, there's a lot of overlap with the earth science that I just talked about. And one of the major ones is pursuing a major here is inherently flexible and really a choose your adventure as a PLU student. This is going to be beyond what you really need to be familiar with right now, but the list of courses that you take for the majors that's on the screen here is mainly just to highlight you take a wide range of courses and a lot of interdisciplinary components. So you think about the environment in a lot of different contexts, everything from philosophy to religion to history to other natural sciences, and you pursue that major by deciding the courses that you're most interested in taking. We have a student who is part of this Q&A who is a double major in both environmental studies and earth science, and so can talk to you a little bit more about how they've navigated this series of choice that you have in pursuing the major. Environmental studies is, again, inherently based in hands-on learning and out in the field, and so, again, we provide as many of these enriching opportunities to environmental studies students as possible. In this program, there's a very notable class where you get this kind of hands-on immersive learning experience, and that's the Environmental Studies 350 class that I want to highlight here shortly, because it's really kind of a keystone in this specific program here at PLU. Environmental Studies 350 is entitled Environmental Methods. It's a class that you would expect to take during your junior year, where you are out in the local watershed studying everything from the health of the biologic systems to the geology of that system to integrating with indigenous studies. So it's a multidisciplinary investigation of our local system to assess the health of this local watershed. And so that really has that hands-on environmental focus in a place-based learning context. And so it very becomes a formative experience for our students. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about Environmental Studies 350, you even can find it on a sub web page on the PLU website. If you just type in PLU Environmental Studies 350, it'll take you to the website that you see on the screen here, which highlights this watershed that we're studying, the local Clover Creek, and gives you an idea of the types of data sets that are looked at, as well as the digital archive that we put together from decades of study of this. So if you find this interesting, I encourage you to take a look at that website. You can find even more out about what you get out of this class experience. The final bit that I want to highlight here is that I've talked about the two kind of primary Bachelor of Arts pathways, one in earth science and one in environmental studies. And I'm excited to share that we are about to offer a brand new Bachelor of Science degree that unites these two sub-programs. So starting in fall 2026, there will be a Bachelor of Science pathway now titled Earth and Environmental Science that will be open to all of you incoming PLU students. What you see on the screen here is the list of classes. Don't worry about the details here, but I just want to kind of show you we have the program fully built. It's ready to go. And in it, you can either concentrate on that earth science side that I already talked about, or the environmental science side, all now in one shared curriculum that really kind of unites these two sub-programs. So here at PLU, you can pursue a Bachelor of Arts degree in Earth Science, a Bachelor of Arts degree in Environmental Studies, or starting in the fall, a new Bachelor of Science degree in either one of those disciplines. So really there is a wealth of opportunities available to any student interested in studying the earth or the environment here at PLU. And so, Hillary, I'll kind of close there with that overview, and we'll open it up to any questions
Yeah. I think Anna is here now too. Anna, do you want to pop back on the screen? We saw you for a hot sec. Welcome in. Hi. Feel free to unmute. We're going to have you introduce yourself and start to kind of get your experience as a current student at PLU. So, do you want to do just a quick introduction of name, hometown, high school, what your major is here at PLU, and what year you are here?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're great.
Okay, cool. So hi, I'm Anna. I am a third year at PLU and I'm double majoring in earth science and environmental studies and I'm minoring in religion. I'm from Lakewood, so I'm like from the area, and I graduated from Harrison Prep.
Nice. Good. How did you, can you share a little bit about your journey about why PLU, why you ended up coming to PLU, and also how you ended up as an earth science and environmental studies student?
Well, most of my like initial interest in PLU is because it was like closer to like where I live.
Yeah.
Um and I originally intended on majoring in business. So I was like, oh, PLU has a good business program. And then the day before classes started, I was like, I don't know if I want to be a business major because I don't want to be like inside looking at a computer for my whole life and like what if what I'm planning doesn't pan out and like I just end up doing something like that's like super unfulfilling just for a paycheck. And then I was like, well, I really enjoyed my environmental systems and societies class that I took for my junior and senior year of high school.
Mm.
And I was like, well, I mean, if I don't end up doing this thing, then I can work outside and um feel like I'm doing something meaningful for like issues that I care about because I am also one of those people that's like super anxious about climate change and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's that was pretty much what it was. Literally the day before class started my first year, I emailed my advisor and I was like, actually, can I change my major? And
Just
so
kidding.
she put me in Earth Science 109, which is geology of energy, and I get to TA for that class now this semester, so that's fun.
That's a fun full circle. I also came into PLU as an intended business major and then realized there was way too much math that I didn't want to take. And so I switched to communication, which was a much better fit for me. So yeah, it's sometimes you find those majors that you maybe weren't expecting, but I think it's a great story too to say, sometimes this class in high school that I really enjoyed could end up being my path forward. I think one of the things that we often hear in admission is, and from prospective students, which you do have any questions for those in the webinar, please use that Q&A. We'll get those populated. Is what can I start doing in my first year at PLU? So maybe for both of you, and it sounds like you have lived experience as a student, but for you, Alex, as well, what are some of those kind of initial offerings that a first year student could take to confirm their interest or maybe learn of a new interest within this field?
For me personally, it was Earth Science 109, which you can take like without any prerequisites. Just like if the topic sounds interesting, you can take it. And since I didn't know yet if I wanted to do earth science or environmental studies, my advisor was like, "Oh, this one would be good because it would count for both, if you decide on like one or the other." And so yeah, that one was the whole semester and I really enjoyed it. Um, I think also during my first year, ugh, yeah, I don't remember what else I did first year. I think I did geologic principles the spring after that, and then I don't think that I liked it. And then the semester after that, I tried biology and I was like, "Oh, I hate that." And so now I'm back to earth
Now
science
you're
where
back.
I feel like I should be.
Yeah, sometimes you need to try something else to be like, that's not it. Like, I gotta go somewhere different. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll chime in there. I think Anna summarized her experience really well there. The key point made is any earth science or environmental studies course that starts with a one or a two, so 100 level or 200 level, is open to any student. no matter what declared major you have, no matter what your background is. So there's no prerequisites to get in those classes. And so students could come in right away and take that gateway class 201, or they could feel it out, take a few 100 level classes before they say, okay, I really want to kind of unlock that door. And I would say, exactly as Anna spoke to, the nice thing is you have a lot of time to kind of sort it out, meaning students could really spend their whole first and second year sorting out classes, taking a lot of gen ed classes. And if they get to their junior year and then kind of say, all right, I'm ready to declare and get ready, you can complete either major, both majors in that kind of concentrated junior and senior year. So I'd say first year is a great place to explore, even into the second year. And a one aspect that we build into the first year is that we do tend to offer a set of environmental or earth science classes that are embedded in the first year experience program. So FYEP. So those are specific topic areas that you have to take a first year experience program class anyway. You might look for the specific ones in earth or environmental studies that allow you to kind of dip your toe in that way, while also satisfying other requirements. So all that to say, there's a lot of different pathways. There's no set pathway at all. You have a lot of choice as you explore.
Sorry, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Um, it's the other nice thing about environmental studies as a major is that a lot of the classes that are required for environmental studies also fulfill your gen ed requirements. And so that's made it really manageable to be a double major because like I needed to fulfill those gen eds anyways. So I just did the ones that counted for environmental studies.
That's great. It's a real benefit of a liberal arts based school too, that you can be working towards your major and also having it go towards your general education requirements and that kind of basis that at PLU we believe is really important. But I think it's a pretty common story to have a double major or a major and a minor or something, right, that you are passionate about in a variety of different ways. So it's fun to hear how you're fulfilling that and doing that, Anna. One of the things that obviously being kind of a more outdoors based program, Riki is the home, right, for this program. And if you've visited campus, you've potentially been in Riki. If not, we have a lot of events coming up that will allow you to see it. But I guess one of the questions I have is that for those that maybe are interested in kind of earth science, Washington State, especially, is home to a wide variety of kind of makeup. And so, how does PLU use that, take advantage of that? You kind of talked a little bit about the spring break experience, but how is that kind of seen and lived as a current student or as you're thinking about creating your classes?
Is
I'll
that
start here with kind of the opportunities, and then Anna, I'd like you to share which places you've gone to or where you're kind of expected to go to. Because Anna, right now, junior year, enrolled in that environmental studies 350 class as well as the spring break field trip. So Anna's got a lot of different field experiences to come. To your point, Hillary, about essentially taking advantage of our amazing natural landscape, a lot of our courses, in particular at the 100 level, include field trip opportunities. Many of those class-based ones are closer to PLU campus, so kind of take advantage of the Puget Sound area. But we do adventure to, in some cases, I teach a geology of the national parks class, and so we do a day trip up to Mount Rainier National Park because we're pretty darn close to Mount Rainier National Park. So it's amazing to have an active volcanic system in our backyard that we can drive up to in just an hour and a half's time. We do a lot of exploration on Puget Sound beaches because there's a lot of really nice coastal bluffs. So we have a lot of state parks around the area that do that. And then we definitely try to tap into the fact of sometimes you want to go a little bit farther afield. And so that is the basis of that 401 field trip where we need more than just a few hours that you might do in a class-based field trip. And that's that idea of multi-day field trips that we incorporate in the kind of upper level curriculum to make sure everybody gets to see more of that broad Washington State geology.
um I've been I think I've been on like one proper field trip. Question mark. Um, my first year, spring semester when I was taking geologic principles, we went to Manchester State Park in Port Orchard. And we looked at like the structures there and kind of we were put into like groups, and each of the groups had to come up with like different theories about like the geologic history of that area.
Hmm.
And so that was really fun because it was like I got to do a hands-on class my first year. And then in spring of last year, I took Earth Science 104, which was na con I want to say conservation of natural resources.
Mhm.
And we got to, for a few of our labs, we got to go outside and talk about the different types of plants that were on campus and talk about which plants were native versus which ones weren't. And then there were 1 or 2 days where we got to go out and like take out some of the invasive plants and remove some of like the dead plants that were like choking out some of the live, more fragile plants. And that was really fun too. And then for Environment 350, um, so far, we've only been out once to like look at which parts of the Clover Creek are like within walking distance. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to explore the creek more, especially because it's going to be a bunch of different perspectives with different professors. I think that'll be really cool.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. That's fun. One of the things that we know is really important when choosing a college and that we hear often is how will this school support me and kind of what my hopes and dreams and steps are post graduating from PLU. So do you mind sharing? I know, Alex, when we talked and kind of our team was talking to your program, there were some really intentional ways that you all tried to bring in alumni and create those professional connections for students while they're here. And just wondering if you can potentially expand on that and share kind of what those opportunities are like.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to share that. So we very much are focused on supporting students, not just in their time here at PLU, but to get them ready for that kind of springboard into post PLU life. And we'd love to provide as much support as possible. The great thing about the PLU community is that it's not just those on campus, but it extends all throughout the alumni network. And so we have a lot of very proud PLU alums that want to give back and want to connect back to our current students. And so we oftentimes tap into that enthusiasm with recent graduates, maybe not even that recent graduates who are fully employed, have had a decade or more of experience of navigating professional life, whether it's specifically in earth science or environmental studies, or maybe taken multiple career paths since then. And they come into the classroom, and or we sometimes now take advantage of the virtual world and hold, the equivalent of these webinars, and have those alums share their advice and experience just to try to help students while they're still currently here on campus kind of figure out how to set themselves best up for success, meaning what should you do in your junior or senior year to make that resume as robust as possible? What contacts can you have? And oftentimes those alums are providing that contact list that you can kind of knock on their door virtually via email to say, hey, do you have any internships at your company? Or can you tell me kind of where I can go professional meeting wise to kind of make those contacts? And so we also have a really robust network of professionals in the earth science and environmental realm that are employed throughout the Puget Sound region. And so they hold a lot of local regional meetings on kind of a monthly, every monthly basis that are very much open to and welcoming to current students. And so we kind of try to make as many of those informational sessions aware to our student population as possible, so that way they can tap into that network, whether or not it's a PLU alum or not, but just kind of the local employers in the region. And so we're very much trying to kind of have a hands-on approach to it, but also hear from our students about what they're struggling with as they're searching. So many of them get into Anna's position in junior, senior year and go, oh, I'm starting to think about internships. How do I start that? And so Anna's currently in one of the upper division classes I'm teaching, Sed Strat. We'll talk a lot about the geology in that class, but part of the plans for the spring is also to discuss kind of career planning, as well as what you might look for kind of summer opportunities. So we incorporate that into our classes as well, particularly when it's kind of a group of majors that are ready to start thinking about those next steps.
As you think about yourself, Anna, and then Alex, as you think about students kind of entering college and trying to find their path, what are maybe some of the like aha moments of a student realizing that earth science, environmental studies, now environmental science might be the right path for them as a major or an academic home at PLU.
Anna, go ahead if you want to share again your experience, and maybe you don't have the full aha moment, but what's kind of solidified it for you that you're like, I do want this double major now that you're kind of fully into it as a junior?
Now that we're no to business and bio.
Yeah.
Um, I think part of what solidified earth science for me was this might have to do with like the fact that the earth science department is relatively small compared to some of the other sciences we have, but I felt like the professors in earth science were a lot more relatable and a lot uh nicer when I had like questions that I felt were kind of silly, or like if I needed something explained a lot more. It felt like they were really willing to meet me where I was at. Whereas with like some of the other sciences, there are like so many people that it's like, oh, well, I can't really explain this to you in depth right now, but if you come to my office, then I can definitely explain it to you, which is like still good, still a good resource. But like I have like a really packed schedule personally. So that mixed with like being scared of other professors, that made that kind of difficult. The earth science faculty are like really approachable and kind of silly, and I like it a lot. And then uh I also really liked how like the variety of topics that earth science covers. 'Cause I really like looking at how things are like interconnected and like how people utilize different earth processes. Like my favorite class that I've done for earth science so far was climate and earth processes, and like we talked about how wind works and how that affects how the ocean moves and stuff. And I just think it's really cool to like be able to like look outside like at the stuff that's like directly in front of me and be able to apply things that I'm learning almost immediately. Um and yeah, I think those are the main things that solidified it.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, and I appreciate you sharing that story because so for any interested prospective student watching this, you're already so much further along in thinking about earth science and environmental studies than I was in your position or the vast majority of current earth science majors. So earth science and environmental studies are programs that generally are discovered by students when they get to college. And the reason why is that you might not have that much exposure in a K through 12 education. And I mentioned that did have that class, and that's why it kind of opened that door. I didn't have anything earth or environment related, particularly in my high school. It was biology, chemistry, physics, and those were the only options for it. And so for me, it was that same kind of early time in college navigation of, well, there's all these classes, far more than I ever had in high school. How do I figure out which ones to take and when? And I just happened to take an intro geology class, not knowing anything besides, I think that's about rocks, and then took the class and then immediately was like, this is so cool. For the exact reasons that Anna just said, I started realizing there was all this stuff about the world outside my window that I had never really paid attention to, but I could start observing and explaining. And that just was so cool to me. The fact that the world that we live in is explainable and it wasn't just some random occurrence. Why there's a big volcano in our backyard here at PLU. And where I grew up in Ohio, there were no volcanoes whatsoever. Taking an intro geology class provided the answers to that, and it kind of just unlocked that curiosity. And for me, in the same way that Anna said, it was connections with the professors. That's a kind of across PLU thing, which is nice. So if you're watching this and saying, well, I don't know if it's earth science or environmental studies, but I think it is PLU, you can expect to build relationships with professors. There's generally a receptiveness there. But we do very much pride ourselves in the earth science and environmental studies program of creating a community where the students should feel comfortable to ask whatever the questions are. There are no silly questions. There's always good questions. So we love getting to know the students and be able to talk to them about whatever they're interested in.
Well, I think that's a really lovely place for us to wrap up tonight. I really appreciate all the students that were able to join us and learn more about this program. I did put Dr. Leckler's information in the chat, but as stated before, really simple Google search and the full profile will come up. Anna, thank you so much for taking time out of your very packed schedule to come and chat with us and learn more about your experience. This will be recorded and we will be able to provide some additional information. But if you would like to get connected individually, you can always use your admission counselor to help get you to where you need to go as you're coming into kind of selection process time. But otherwise, thank you so much to you both. Thank you to those that could join us. And I hope everyone has a lovely day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hi, everybody.